Let it be known, Greg Brady made me paranoid that nothing was going in when all she had to do was hit the unmute button.
Yeah, it's been one of those mornings. How are you?
Done with you already.
You cannot be.
Set up this background for you and everything. California. Welcome to another Believe Vacations video article. My name is Brian Pavlick, rejoined for her second go around with me by my great friend, Kim Gregorio, aka Greg Brady Oreo Cookie. How are you today, dear?
I'm doing well, Brian. How are you?
I am awesome. It's even better talking to you. Whenever we get together, it's a mess, it's chaos, it's confusion, but it's fun, and we laugh and we tell fun stories. And I am just sad that I did not get to have a fun story this last go around with you. Kim is a Florida chick. She was born in Florida. She went to Florida State, whatever, and hurts my wrist. And still lives in Florida. And of course, so Disney World, she's familiar with. She had the opportunity to go to Disneyland, yes, California, for the very first time just a few short weeks ago. And she came right up to me and she said, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about comparisons, what's different, what's better, what's worse. I said, come on, let's go, girl. So let's go, girl. Let's talk about this whole thing. We don't need to introduce you because you've been introduced before, but you've been with Believe. Are we going on a couple of years now?
Yeah, 2 years next month.
It's crazy. I mean, time is flying. I'm still the old fart of the team, but all you young whippersnappers are now catching up and all that. And it's just fun to see your progression. But as Kim would tell you, you know, she's not just a Walt Disney World planner. She is a Universal Islands of Adventure planner, Disney Cruise Line, Alani, all of the Disney properties. But now she has that personal experience with Disneyland. So if you're in that Florida area and you want something different and you don't want just Walt Disney World, now Kim knows about what's out there in California for you. So Kim, we're going to jump right into this. When did you go? And why did you go to Disneyland, by the way?
Well, every year, at least I've only been here 2 years. So the last 2 years, Believe Vacations does a team trip in January. We usually do it around Martin Luther King weekend. And this year they floated the idea of Disneyland. And like you said, Florida girl, ocean's on the wrong side of the car when you go to California. It's very confusing to me. You know, I jumped at the opportunity because I had the opportunity to not only go to Disneyland and learn, but go with people that had been there before. So learn from my other believers, right? So I thought that was an awesome opportunity. I have a lot of family that happens to live in California. Very cool. So I do get a lot of referrals for Disneyland. And I'm like, I think it sounds great. I think that sounds great.
Yes, me. Yeah. Cool.
No, I mean, I've done all the training, but until you see it and touch it and feel it and eat and do all the things, you really don't get that experience.
Disclaimer to the video, I have not been. I did not go on this previous trip. I'm regretting it every more day that I talk to my friends, and I will get out there. But you had a great opportunity, and I'm so happy for you. But you had to get out there. And, you know, where it's a short drive, relatively speaking, for you when you go to Disney World, it's not that close to get to California for you. So what were the travel methods you used to arrive at the Disneyland resorts? Obviously you took a plane, kind of describe that experience, and then getting to resorts, Uber type things. Just tell us a little bit about from your house to front gate of your resort.
Sure. So I live in South Florida, about an hour and a half north of Miami. So I have 3 airports to choose from. I picked one that could get me there in the least amount of stops was basically my goal. And so I ended up flying out there, stopping in Dallas, picked up some other Believe Vacations agents on my flight. So that was fun. I wanted to fly into John Wayne, Orange County Airport, because that's the closest to Disneyland. And so I wanted to kind of experience, is it better to fly into that smaller airport, or is it better because you save a couple bucks going to LAX, you know, and taking that longer? You know, I've flown in and out of LAX, so I know how busy it is. It was a super nice experience to just mosey through John Wayne, Orange County Airport. Not a lot, and mosey, I was on a scooter for this trip. I had broken my foot, got my
Yes, we'll have to show pictures of you in the scooter. Keeping it the Believe Vacation Agent Team Trip tradition, by the way.
Yes,
so
yes.
we're taking bets on who the 2023 scooter is right now. But go ahead, keep going. John Wayne.
I was very thankful after finding out Monday before leaving Thursday that I was going to be in a boot and on a scooter, that I had chosen the smaller airport, the easier airport to maneuver, so landed, got our luggage, called an Uber. Uber came and picked us up at the designated location, took us straight to the hotel. It was maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So it was not bad at all. I think the Uber cost both ways was around $40 for, we had to get an XL because the scooter.
Go ahead. Scooter's going to play a big part in the story, folks. Go ahead.
But so I mean, I was impressed. $40 is not bad each way to get from the airport to your hotel. It's door to door, and yeah, it was great.
15 minutes, $40. That's basically the Rockstar shuttle service for Universal, by the way. So there you go for price comparison. We're going to get into the actual experience here in just a second. But, whereas at Disney World, good Lord, how many different variety of choices for resorts and stuff. Really, there's 3 on campus for Disneyland out in Anaheim. So, Kim, where did you stay? And what Walt Disney World resort would you compare it to the most?
Sure. So I think we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel.
Disneyland.
And when I'm looking at the Disneyland resorts, I call this the moderate one.
Yeah.
Right. California Adventure is a little bit higher end, but not by much, in my opinion. And then Pixar is more of like your value when I'm looking at the 3. I kind of rank them that way. Cool. So we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, which was great because it's connected to downtown Disney. You can walk to the parks from there. Or scoot. You can walk to any of the other 2 hotels as well. So it was pretty centrally located.
Cool. Yeah, and then as far as that hotel goes, you were comparing to like the deluxe, the moderate, and the value. Were there any special amenities that hotel had? Pools, a special restaurant, or anything like that? Or is it just, Walt Disney built parks, Anaheim grew up around it, and the hotels just kind of came with it?
Well, I think there's a little bit of both. So the pool looked really cool. It was freezing for this
in California. That makes sense.
Little Florida girl.
Yeah.
We weren't experiencing the pool a little bit, but I did walk around it, and it was super cool. It had a monorail slide. So the slide looked like the monorail. It was so cool. I thought my kids would have been screaming to see that. Right. It had some fun restaurants at the Disneyland Hotel. Sam's Grotto that is at Polynesian was there. So that was fun, but it was much bigger. It had a much bigger outdoor area. It was pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, it had that. To me, it did look like Walt Disney built Disneyland, put a couple hotels, and Anaheim grew up around it. Yeah. Right. That is a perfect statement for what it looked like when I was driving in, because I was like, oh, wait, wow. Okay.
No purple signs, no just wide open spaces of development. Exactly. It's just city. Yeah, I got you. I can't wait to see that when I get there in person, but especially talking about things of what I can't wait to see. You have now arrived. You have now scooted through the tickets and the security. And what immediately stood out to you? And you said immediately, because you're in comparison mode now, Disneyland, Disney World. Okay, you're already there. You know it. What immediately, for better or worse, stands out? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
First thing that stood out was the castle, Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Meet Moo.
I kind of came around. I remember I went castle to castle in 6 days.
You did.
So I had just been at Walt Disney World running the marathon weekends, and then don't ask. That's how the boot came about. And then I went to this. And so I was super excited to be like, castle to castle. Love it. And, it's beautiful. It just is small. It was very small.
Small world after all.
I kind of came around the corner. I was like, where's the castle? Oh. But it
And that's the one thing that everybody says is if you see the Walt Disney World, Cinderella's Castle, Sleeping Beauties is just kind of, but in talking before this, you did mention that something else that stood out was, I guess, the proximity. You kind of mentioned this earlier, but the proximity of the parks, because no, in Florida, you are not walking from Epcot to Magic Kingdom, the Animal Kingdom, all that. But here, it's a layout. Would you compare it similar to Universal Studios Islands of Adventure, where it's kind of like that City Walk Plaza? I know this came first, folks. I get it. But you said you were surprised about the walkability between both locations.
Absolutely. And, I did like that everybody has to enter through downtown Disney. So the security screening is out there. And then once you're in downtown Disney, you just enter the parks. You're scanning a park ticket. So you're not going through separate security to go to each park. Does that make sense?
Whereas that makes sense. That's awesome. So you walk in one security and then it all opens up.
Correct.
I can do that all day.
Right. I mean, when you park hop, a lot of times you have to redo, unless you take the monorail from one to the other, you have to redo the security screening, which it's not that big of a deal.
Correct.
But
yeah, it's nice. It's nice to just get if you're a parent, have the stroller out just the one time or the bag. And I got you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I had a basket on my scooter. We had it full of
Elliot.
We had it full of things, so I had to take all the things out. But it was really nice, And that security checkpoint was connected to connected to Disneyland Hotel. Like we went out the hotel and then right through, and
that's good.
That was that.
Absolutely. All right. So of course, lots of questions here, but there are certain attractions that are at both locations. So I'm just going to do a little bit, do you prefer version? You can go into it if you want, or if you just want a one-word answer, definitely the Disneyland, definitely the Walt Disney World version. So just a couple off the top of my head. It's a Small World. Disneyland version or Disney World version?
Disneyland.
Really? Interesting. Just the facade with the clock and everything like that?
I loved the facade. And then I loved how they snuck characters in their related regions of Small World.
Gotcha.
Right. And so there was Stitch and Lilo in the Pacific Islands, and there was, Donald was in Mexico, and they snuck in characters into Small World, whereas at Disney World, they don't have that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was bigger.
Now, my good friend Kyle Holland, who you know really well as well, will say Guardians of Galaxy over Tower of Terror every single day. Is this true for Kim Gregorio?
Yes.
Really? Even with you laughing through all the stariness?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love Tower of Terror, and I love the nostalgia of it, and I love it. But this one, you really get some air, and there's a lot more to it.
All right. Get some air. I love it. Peter Pan's Flight. I know it's a little different at Disney World and Disneyland. What version do you prefer?
I prefer the World one, which is
really okay. Even though it looks like it's a little newer as far as some of the visuals and sights and sounds at Disneyland, you still prefer the squeaky wheels that you can hear above and all that. All right.
Maybe it's my nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess so, honestly. I just have to wait 75 minutes for it, Brian. That's the reason.
Right.
All right. Good.
Weird. Yes. Genie Plus.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Land.
Could you tell it was a real skeleton? That's always the myth. Is the skeleton that's laying on the beach is a real skeleton, or did you not even know about that?
I didn't know about that.
Whatever, it doesn't make any difference. I'm still going.
All right.
All right. Pirates better at Disneyland. That's interesting. Yeah, and another thing that I've heard this a couple of times now from some of our agents, and even a friend who was out there recently. The characters. Now at Walt Disney World, I'm familiar now with these new character cavalcades. Of course, there's the meet and greet spots. I have heard from many people, Disneyland, the characters just seem like they're everywhere. Did you experience that?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw characters everywhere and on a regular basis that I have to wait for a party at Disney World to see. Mm-hmm. Like those obscure characters that you don't see. And they have various staging areas for them. Right. Whereas at Disney World, there were just those few character spots. I felt there was a lot more
Interesting.
staging places. So staging because of social distancing, right?
Of course,
You can't
of course.
get right up to the characters and things like that. So I felt there was amazing character access at
Right.
Disneyland.
That's interesting. Okay, so character hunters spend the money, go out to California right now because it
For
seems like
sure.
it's more prevalent and all that. Just a few more questions about just kind of those initial impressions and stuff. You did mention the mobility scooter and all that, and they had the DAS system, the DAS disability access, and all that. We can get into it. I think we're actually going to do something with Eric coming up here soon because he's experienced Walt Disney World and Disneyland. But for you, did you guys get to do the DAS system through your knee, and how did that kind of feel for you? Was it awkward? Just touch on that briefly. We'll go into it further with Eric, but for you and your situation.
It was, so Disneyland is older.
Yeah.
So it's not built as accessible as California Adventure even.
Even good to know. Okay.
So at Disneyland, it was slightly different. We did use the DAS Pass, but at Disney and California Adventure, it worked more like Disney World,
right,
from what Eric was telling me. And I don't want to rain on that parade, but Disneyland was slightly different. You went into the exits of most of the rides because that was the only way to get in accessibly. You would go up to the exit to get a return time. You couldn't use it on the app very freely. So it was a little different, but I did use it. Just because I couldn't scoot around the ride, like the lines weren't wide enough for the scooter.
Right. I got you. And we'll get to California Adventure here in a second. But my last question about Disneyland, because that's the one that, of course, if we're trying to compare figuratively apples and apples with the Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, they're kind of the more similar. Magic Kingdom, I know me and you, ask us anything, right to left, left to right, up, down, where you want to know, we could point you there.
Yes.
Did you feel as comfortable getting around Disneyland? Did it feel as familiar, or is it just, no, this isn't right?
It did not. It was very hard for me. And I feel like the lands are very pronounced at Disney World, like Adventureland, Frontierland,
right,
Tomorrowland. They had signs, but I couldn't see them very well. I never knew. Thank God I had people who had been there with me.
Okay.
It was very hard for me to but I can't remember my first time at Disney. I mean, I've been going to Disney since I was a baby, so that's not necessarily an equal comparison. Okay. I'm sure I felt like people do that go their first time to Disney World as well. But it was hard for me to tell what land I was entering or leaving.
Okay. All right. Fair assessment. Liz, we're being open and honest here. That's why Kim's one of the better agents, because she will give you an honest assessment.
Absolutely.
Speaking of honest assessments, you did mention California Adventure being a little newer than Disneyland. Between the two, which one stole your heart that week? Did you appreciate the nostalgia and stuff of Disneyland, or kind of the newer stuff that's there with California Adventure?
So I'm a sap, so of course I appreciate all of the nostalgia of Disneyland, but boy, did I love California Adventure. So I would say that one stole my heart because it was super unique, and I couldn't compare a lot of anything there to what we have at Disney World.
Right. And what out there, a couple of attractions or so, did you enjoy the most that you don't have in your backyard here in Florida? What in California exclusive right now do they have that you're like, we need this in Florida yesterday?
I love the Incredicoaster, and I love the Cars Land, everything in it.
Cars, all it's cracked up to be, huh?
Everything about it.
I guess. See, I got to get out there. I'm not the biggest Cars fan, but I know Radiator Springs just looks awesome every time I'm seeing either a YouTube video or pictures. And then, of course, Radiator Springs, my goodness gracious. It's just.
And Radiator Racers is so cool. I mean, it's just so cool. Unbelievable.
Now, on the flip side of that, what do you wish California had more of that Florida has? We talked about the character interactions in California stood out a little bit more than in Florida. What's kind of the reverse of that? Which were you going around California going, wait a minute, where's the these, that's, and the others?
So you're gonna laugh, but snacks.
Naturally.
I am laughing.
And I am laughing.
I need my snacks. And I gotta tell you, trying to find a bottle of water, I had to put thought into it. There weren't as many snack carts. You know what I mean? Huh. They had Mickey pretzels, they had churros, they had a lot more churros than we have in Disney World.
Of course.
But the number of carts was few and far between.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. We actually had a discussion because we felt like we weren't seeing as many meltdowns from children like we see at Disney World. And I said, yeah, there's not enough snacks.
Yeah, for real. Can't have those sugar rushes or anything like that.
So the sugars aren't going up and down all day.
Good point. Huh, okay, so go see the characters, but bring your own snacks. Okay, we got those 2 points taken now.
They had all of the stapled snacks, but it wasn't on every corner.
Every corner. Okay, we'll have to remember that. Now, and this is going back to your previous article with me about the food allergies and things like that. I know your radar was up. Did you notice that they had similar, the menu options and all that in Disneyland as they would in Florida?
Yep. And there was a couple of agents that were traveling with me that had some dietary restrictions, such as food allergies. And I felt that the care that they received, that I witnessed, was equal. They brought them special options. They brought them special menus. So I did feel that didn't change between World and Land.
I got you. No, that's cool. And I know that's something important to you. So I'm glad that you did touch on that. So continuing on that food journey, I saw the pictures. I even FaceTimed you guys one night at dinner. Where were some of these places that you went to? Are they familiar names to us who go to Florida, or are they different restaurants? Just some of the highlights, if you would, about the places you ate there.
So none of the places that I went to were in Florida because I wanted to try. Because I always find a hard time. People ask me, where's the best place to eat at Disneyland? And I'm like, I don't know. What kind of food do you like? Let's see how many stars they have on Yelp.
Right.
So I was really after like places that were unique that people asked for a lot at Disney World. So we went to Napa Rose at California Adventure Hotel.
Yeah.
Very fancy. But the food was really good. Mm-hmm. And our waiter was really animated and really good. So he took this, to me, fancy, stuffy, whatever, out of the meal and made it really fun. So that was really good. We did a few character breakfasts. I will say character breakfasts are character breakfasts. The buffets are the buffets. There's some, Mickey waffles, omelets, eggs, all the things that you want. Mm-hmm. One thing different at Disneyland, they do these parades of the characters. And they walk around really, really fast. At Disney World, the parades go once around and then they pause like in each section for pictures. They don't do that at Disneyland. So you had to be quick to catch your pictures.
I got you. So it was more of a literal parade through instead of here. Okay.
But I will say my last night's dinner was at Lamplight. Mm-hmm. And we sat outside overlooking my background. And it was just, I don't even know if the food was good. It was just so awesome to just sit and look at that all night. You know what I mean? The company was good. I don't know if the food was good. I'm sure it was because I ate
That's
all.
Awesome. I like that. The company was good. The view was good. Food, whatever. I paid for it.
Yeah. Nothing but honesty here, right?
Yeah, but I love it though. That's good.
I really would recommend going there no matter what. They had something on the menu for everybody. They had fun drinks. But it was just so cool to sit there and just soak in everything, which is one of the things I love most about going to Disney.
Yeah. And it's good that it does cover both coasts. And, as we were talking, and of course, Kim, as I always do, I run your contact information and things so that people can get in touch with you so we can ask you these questions. And, again, now that you have that personal experience of it, it's going to be a tough question for you. The final question I have for you, and I know, and I wouldn't assume you just know this right off the top of your head. If you do, then you've thought about it on the long plane rides home. But, if there's one thing that you could tell anybody, let's even use me as the audience. Okay, I want to go. I just don't know when I'm going to be able to, how I'm going to be able to get out there, take off work, all that good stuff, flights, all that good stuff. What's just that one thing that says, Brian, here's the one thing that I think you would enjoy, and not Brian the person, but just whether it's the nostalgia of Disneyland. And I know we always talk about it's where Walt worked and it's where Walt walked. If it's that portion of it, great. If it's just Brian, there's just so many things out there that you won't get to experience in Florida. What's kind of the one driving factor that you say, Brian, here is the reason you need to go to California next time instead of Florida?
Yeah. There's a couple reasons, right? There is that nostalgia. Walt was there. That was, where he walked and worked. But honestly, there's a lot the same, but so much different. And there's such a different feeling that you get when you're there. I was there for 3 days in the parks. And a lot of people say that's so many days in the parks. I don't know that I saw everything.
Yeah.
And it was just, I think you definitely have to do. If you love Disney, like I know you do, or if you are even inquiring, maybe want a taste of it and you live on the West Coast already.
Yeah.
Do it. It's so cool. It was such a cool experience. I came home and I told my kids, we're going to plan a trip. We're going to plan a trip. We're going to go. We're going to do this.
Well, you said do it and so cool. And I couldn't think of better ways to close up the plug to book with you. Do it. She's so cool, man. We have such a good, fun time every time we talk. No, Kim, that's awesome stuff. And, we could have done this with any other agent, but you did have that unique perspective because it was your first time. You were seeing it with a fresh set of eyes. So I just appreciate you kind of keeping that in mind. I hope it didn't take away from your vacation. Like, oh, Brian wanted me to look out for this, that, and the other. I hope you were still able to enjoy it. And of course, enjoy your fellow agents. My goodness, what a true.
I soaked everything in, and it was cool because, I wasn't moving as fast as everybody else.
See, slow. Well, there you go. Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to feign an injury so I can slow down and purposely take it all in. I will be rushing. I'll be running.
Well, we did do a tour with a tour guide, a VIP tour, and they stuck me in a wheelchair that day because it was easier to get me around.
It's Kim Gregorio, everybody. Brady Oreo Cookie. She's very
high maintenance.
She's very high maintenance.
That's how we roll.
Very high maintenance. Let me look at her. All right, Kim. I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship and your honest discussion. Yeah, of course we'll do this again. It's gonna take us. We're gonna do it quicker than a year, like we did this time. So be looking for me in the next 4 to 6 months. We'll find a topic, but I will definitely be talking to you. For everybody else who joined us today, thank you very much, and we will see you real soon.
I ran the half marathon on Saturday.
Yeah.
I went and got my x-ray on Monday. He told me I needed to stay off of it. I knew I was flying out on Thursday. I ate an ungodly amount of time. Like I had to leave my house at 3 a.m. to get to the airport to make my flight to Dallas. So I had to order it on Amazon because none of the scooter places had any for rent here. And Amazon guaranteed delivery on Wednesday. Well, it was Wednesday at 5 p.m. and I still didn't have my scooter. So we were like, Mary Morning, can you dig yours out and bring it to the Dallas airport? I'll get a wheelchair to get on the plane and get a wheelchair to get off into the gate. And then we'll ditch the wheelchair and I'll use your scooter. We didn't know what was, it showed up at 10:30 at night, Wednesday night. I left for the airport. My poor husband had to put it together.
I was going to say, do you have to assemble it like Christmas Eve?
Yes.
Hurry before the kids get up. Good.
But yeah, it was, we were like, what are we going to do if I don't have my scooter?